Welcome to the NZ Travel Show, an interactive show where you can ask your NZ travel questions to the experts behind nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. The NZ Travel Show will start in exactly 2 minutes. Just the time for you to hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. NZPocketGuide.com has over 3,000 articles covering all aspects of travelling in New Zealand, from a working holiday gap year to tips for a perfect family holiday. The site also features dozens of pre-made itineraries that you can use to plan your ideal trip in New Zealand. It's all available for free at nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. The NZ Travel Show is hosted by Robin, the Operations Manager of South Pacific Pocket Guide, the company behind nzpocketguide.com. The New Zealand Travel Show is also hosted by Laura, a journalist and editor-in-chief of South Pacific Pocket Guide and all its publications, including nzpocketguide.com. We're exactly 1 minute away from the NZ Travel Show. Get yourself comfortable and start asking your NZ travel questions in the chat. Robin and Laura will go over them when the show starts. In 30 seconds, our experts will be live from New Zealand to give you all the practical New Zealand travel tips you need, from the best transport options to the best accommodations and activities to choose for the perfect New Zealand holiday. Live from New Zealand, this is the NZ Travel Show with your travel experts, Robin and Laura.
That's right, Laura. It is Sunday, the 9th of April, 2023. It is 8 a.m. New Zealand time, and this is the NZ Travel Show. We are here to answer all your travel questions, everything that you wonder about traveling in New Zealand. Just ask the expert. Well, Laura, why are we the experts?
Because we are the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. So, yeah, we have travelled around New Zealand extensively, done loads and loads of activities around the country. If you haven't checked out New Zealand's biggest gap year, where we did 365 days of 365
loads of activities,
we have that all filmed and up live for you on YouTube, so you can always check those out. But yeah, happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
If you have any questions, let us know in the live chat, even if it's not to do with the theme of the day, which Robin will go over in just a second. You can ask your questions about anything to do with travelling in New Zealand, and we'll be happy to help.
Sherry is here saying good morning and happy Easter as well. Is there any emojis which are Easter related? Do you think there is like
any what? Sorry,
Easter related emojis?
Oh, sure. There'll be heaps.
Why is there?
That's probably Easter eggs and stuff. They have emojis for everything except for Maori culture. I was looking for emojis for they were like just something to represent the Maori culture, like something cultural or anything. Recently, and I actually couldn't find anything, but there is an app called Emotiki where you can get like little tiki faces and stuff, so you can like download Maori themed emoticons. That's so old school to say that.
You just aged yourself.
Emojis onto your phone. So whoever's in charge of emojis, get some Maori emojis on there. Please.
Whoever is in charge of emoticon. Emoticon that you can say via SMS. SMS text messages.
Hey, Sherry's found some nice Easter-related emojis for YouTube. So you could always find some.
Baby Byrne said they're excited about direct flight from Bali to Auckland, which is quite cool. And also from Auckland to Bali for Kiwis, right? It's pretty good as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of New Zealanders going to Bali for their holidays, that's for sure.
Heaps, in fact. Heaps.
Yes.
All right. And they also say happy Easter. Happy times indeed. Okay, so this every single week we like to have a bit of a theme nowadays, just to have something to talk about. But again, if you have questions about traveling in New Zealand which have nothing to do with the theme, feel free to go nuts and ask it. But let's go over this week's theme. It is not working. There is something at the moment.
Something's amiss on our streaming software.
I have attempted to make a quick adjustment, and that was not clever. So let's go over the theme of this week. All right, everybody. So this week we're going to be allowing you to get some good exercise, to get a nice breath of fresh air, to soak in the beautiful scenery of the North Island of New Zealand. That's right, we have put a whopping massive list of our favorite walks/hikes to do on the North Island of New Zealand, and we'll try to see how many we can go over today together. The great Laura is going to tell you everything about each of those hikes and why they should be on your itinerary. So, without further ado, what about we get started with the first few ones, Laura?
Absolutely. So, starting with number 1, we have the Mount Summit Walk, otherwise known as Mauau, and this is located in Mount Maunganui in Tauranga. So, if you want to get some great views of beaches, of the beautiful harbour of Tauranga, then check out this really nice, easy, short walk with a bit of uphill to do. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes one way, and the distance is 3.4 kilometres or 2.1 miles. You can find it in Tauranga in the Bay of Plenty. Next up, we have Maricopa Falls, which is located really close to Waitomo. So if you are staying in Waitomo and want to do a quick day trip, or not even a day trip, it's more like a half-day, quarter-day trip, then you can head over to Maricopa Falls. The walk itself is really short. It's only 20 minutes return and only about 600 meters, which is about 650 yards, and it's located in Waitomo. For another awesome walk with waterfalls, but also some historical artifacts like gold mining artifacts, check out the Karangahaki Gorge Historic Walkway. There are various different walks you can do here. One of the most famous one, because actually currently the other one has had some landslips, so is currently closed. But the main one is going through a really long historic mining tunnel, and that takes about 45 minutes return, up to 4 hours return if you want to do a huge loop, and that's about 2.5 kilometers or 1.6 miles, or the other walk is 4.3 kilometers in miles, that is 2.7 miles, and you can find that near Paeroa in the Waikato region.
Next up on the list, Laura.
Next up, we have Dawson Falls and the Wilkes Pool Loop, which is located in the Taranaki region. And the Dawson Falls section, you can do just a quick section of that, or the Wilkes Pools Loop, which is another section, or you can combine it all together. And this takes 1 hour and 20 minutes, or 1 hour to do the whole loop.
What about I help you with the distance this time
Yeah,
around?
go for it.
And the distance is 1.4 kilometers, which is 0.87 miles. And the longer one is 1.9 kilometers, so really not that much longer, which is 1.2 miles. And it's located in the Egmont National Park in Taranaki. What about we do a last one?
Yeah, so Onipoto Caves Track. This is located in the Te Urewera Forest, which is near Lake Waikaremoana. And this one's quite an easy one to do, but there's lots to see on the way, lots of small caves to explore. It's a 2 hours loop with a distance of 2 kilometers or 1.2 miles.
All right, so what is happening in the live chat? We have Anthony that says Morena from Rodeo, California. If you guys don't know, Morena means good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language. He also said that he won't be here for long because he's updating his Fitbit. Is that this watch that tells you to exercise?
So it tells you your steps and stuff.
Yeah, it tells you to stand up or something.
This theme of the week is very appropriate. If you came to New Zealand and did all these walks, Anthony, on your next trip. I should have said that in the intro.
I should have said, hey, if you want to make your Fitbit happy, get some walks.
Yeah, this is the perfect theme for you, Anthony. So maybe come back later when you've sorted out your Fitbit.
And yeah, so he's gone. And Fabio is here, one of our amazing Patreon supporter. He says, Morena, guys. And he's apologizing for being late. It's your theme, mate, today. So yeah, and he say I have to finish a paper. So yeah, I keep on saying that it's Fabio's theme today because as a Patreon exclusive, we do let you choose some of the theme that we're going to be covering. So this time around, I did offer them, to literally carte blanche, choose whatever theme you want us to do. And so they've chosen a few of the next theme that we're going to be doing. So yeah, pretty awesome. Join us on Patreon. There's a link below. What is Sherry saying?
Sherry has a question, also to do with the theme, which is great, saying, what smaller walks do you recommend in the Tongariro National Park other than the Alpine Crossing? There's actually heaps of, in New Zealand they say heaps, so there's heaps of small walks that you can do in the Tongariro National Park. So starting from Whakapapa Village, which is spelled W-H-A-K-A-P-A-P-A, from that village there's loads of short walks that you can do from there.
The Mounds Walk is one of the best.
There's the Mounds Walk on your way into the village, which is going up some volcanic mounds that have been formed by the volcano Mount Ruapehu. It says on the sign it officially takes 20 minutes, but it's literally more
4
like
minutes.
4 minutes or something. Torfai Falls is another 20-minute walk, but again, that will take you more like 10 minutes because you'll want to stop and have a look at the waterfall for a while. There's also the Taranaki Falls walk, which is a 2-hour loop. That's definitely a must-do. It's a really cool and cool walk with waterfalls and getting views of the volcanoes and stuff, so I definitely recommend that one. And then on top of that, there is the Silica Rapids walk, which is really cool. I recommend taking, although it sort of says it's supposed to be a loop track, but half of the loop is actually on the main road, so I recommend starting from the village, going up to the lookout of the Silica Rapids, and then returning the way you came for a basically more scenic route rather than walking on the road. So yeah, there's just some ideas, but we do have articles on nzpocketguide.com, which are of all the different walks that you can take from Whakapapa Village and National Park Village, which is the location basically where the Tongariro National Park is.
With great views of Mount Doom.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have a bit of a contributor to this live show every week, and his name is Armand. He's a French backpacker that is traveling around New Zealand on his gap year, and this time he's exploring the South Island. He's making his way from Queenstown all the way to Christchurch, and there is quite a lot of really amazing stops there. So let's watch what's happening to him this week.
Alright guys, this is Arman providing you guys with an update on the 26th week of my working holiday in New Zealand. So as you guys know, I've been doing the Kiwi Experience whole kit and caboodle loop, and last week I was in Franz Josef when I made the video. Then after that we stayed in Queenstown for 3 nights. There I did the Milford Sound Cruise, which was absolutely amazing. I really love the views we got, and I'm really grateful that we had a very clear weather, because this is obviously one of those weather-dependent experiences. Another weather-dependent experience which I was unable to do, unfortunately, was the Nevis bungee. I was really surprised because the weather was really clear, but when we went to the site by bus, then it turns out that it was too windy, so we couldn't do it. I'll add it to the long list of things to do the next time. We also did the Kiwi Crawl, which was basically a tour of 5 bars in Queenstown. I really liked the first one in particular because it was like an iced themed bar. It was quite original, everything was in ice. And I think that was pretty much it in Queenstown. Then we went to what is, to me, at least until now, it was the showcase of the whole journey, Lake Tekapo. I must say I really had a blast there as a photography enthusiast, I was able to take some really nice shots of the sky of Lake Tekapo, which is, according to many, the second best sky in the world, second only to the Atacama Desert in Chile. And I believe it's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Absolutely magnificent stars night stargazing I did there, and I also did the Night Sky Project Observatory stargazing experience, which basically involves the getting you to the telescopes of the observatory and the guide showing you constellations and the moon. And I mean, it was really great. I really liked Lake Tekapo, and I also was able to take some photos along the way in the QE Experience bus. I really like the fact that the bus driver, shout out to Hamish, absolutely great guy. He stopped quite often along the way for us to take photos of these beautiful scenic views of the South Island. Then from there we went to Kaikoura with a short stop of like half an hour in Christchurch. Unfortunately, I was unable to do the swim with the dolphins in Kaikoura because the inter-island ferry, which we were about to take from Picton to Wellington, departed earlier. So yeah, this is also something I'll do next time, hopefully. Then we basically went to Wellington, where I stayed just for one night, and now I'm in Taupo doing the Tongariro crossing. As you can see, beautiful view here. I must say it's been one of the most challenging hikes so far that I've ever done. It's 19.6 or 7 kilometers, and yeah, but like I love the fact that it's so calm and peaceful, and just enjoying the view, and wow, breathtaking, honestly. Like, can't wait to be up there at the culminating point. So I think that wraps it up for this week, guys. I'll keep you guys posted on once I get to Auckland and the things I'll be doing there. Until next week, cheers.
Alright, so it looks like Armand really does like the ice bar.
Yeah.
Laura, all your mockeries.
I was
How
not
dare you.
mocking the
How
ice
dare
bar. See, don't listen to me, guys. There's some people out there that love the ice bar, and they have a great time there.
And that's pretty cool that Armand just kind of joining in the theme of this week and was doing, you know, one of the most iconic, one of the most iconic hike on the North End. We obviously will be covering it a little bit later, and we'll even be showing you the summit where Armand says that he's really hoping to get there. We will show it to you. All right. Fabio says there is plenty of cool walks in the area that Armand is covering. Indeed, there is plenty of cool walks there. We're going to be doing South Island tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, next week. So here you go. This week is just the North Island. And Fabio says he's in the South Crater. Yes, we'll show that a little bit later. We'll show where Armand was on the crossing. That'd be cool. Sherry says, any good walks you guys like from the drive between Tongariro and Wellington? I'd love to break up the drive. Yeah, there's some pretty cool one actually. In the Manawatu Gorge, which is not too far from the town of Palmerston North, there is some really cool walks there, which are definitely worth considering. In Masterton, Masterton, sorry, we will cover one literally when we do the next batch of hikes. It's a little out of the way, and you'll find that a lot of time you kind of have to stray off the main highway to kind of find some good walks. There is also the Queen Elizabeth Park, which is also like even more south. You start making your way really close to Wellington there.
Yeah, it's in the Kapiti area, just north of Wellington, and that one's really not too much of a detour off State Highway 1.
Gorge is kind of okay.
Yeah,
as well.
that's not too much of a detour either. Yeah.
All right.
So there's some ideas for you, Sherry.
Kieran says, Kia ora. Kia ora. They say, I've allocated 2 days for the Tongariro Alpine Crossing in mid-May. Although not hugely optimistic, the shuttle bus will be running from Taupo given the time of the year. Got to try though. Yeah, so a lot of people actually get misinformed about the crossing and think that the best start is in the town of Taupo, but it definitely is not. The best start is actually in the town of National Park, which is about an hour and a half drive away from Taupo. Or another really great place to base yourself is the town of Turengi, which is basically the main township south of the Lake Taupo. It is also the best way to start first because, well, there is more operator running shuttles. There are more operators running shuttles, so that's going to be easier for you. And also, you shave off a huge amount of your day. So let's say you starting in Taupo, right? To make your way all the way to National Park and then coming back. So it's an hour and a half one way. It's an hour and a half back again. So we wasted 3 hours on a day when you are already going to be hiking for at least 6 hours, if not longer. So it is a huge toll, like physically, right? So basing yourself closer is always smarter. So if you have the ability, Kieran, to reshuffle a little bit your plan and add yourself one night, not in Taupo, but in Turengi or in National Park, kind of, move your booking a bit closer, you will be very, very happy. On top of that, there is heaps of things to do in this kind of area. Most of the activities which Taupo promotes, such as whitewater rafting and those kind of things, are actually happening south of Lake Taupo. So they are happening quite far away from National Park. So don't spend the night in Taupo. Don't base yourself there. Don't expect the shuttle driver to come and pick you up there. Just base yourself there and then get started.
He says that I was planning on starting in National Park, but in case the weather is not great, I know there is more to do in Taupo. Yeah, there is more rainy day activities to do in Taupo.
It's still very limited. Sure. I think I will still base myself there, and if the weather not great, I'm doing short walk around National Park, which are really cool. Like there is half a dozen walk in National Park, which are less than half an hour, and will give you fantastic volcanic views.
And going to see waterfalls and stuff like that.
See waterfalls and all that. So you can do 10-minute walks to Tophi Falls that Laura was talking about, and that will get you to a beautiful waterfall, like absolutely breathtaking, like Lord of the Rings-like sceneries, right? And if it's a bad day and if it's rainy, you can drive there and just, be able to do like a short walk, because the rain doesn't really last the whole day continuously, right? So it's kind of like on and off. It's New Zealand kind of weather. So I will still base myself in Turengi National Park. And same thing, if it's a rainy day and, you may as well get wet, do the whitewater rafting, and that usually departs from Turengi. So, I will still advise to not base yourself in Taupo, because the rainy day activities in Taupo are quite boring.
There are also
the hot pools.
Yeah, it's also quite limited in Taupo as well. But I would say you have more variety. If you really don't want to see yourself doing any kind of walk in any weather other than sunshine, then there's more variety in Taupo, like hot pools and maybe
variety. And to be fair, on top of it, there are hot pools in like the in not too far from National Park or from Turengi. It's called Tokanu, and so you can do hot pools there as well. So there are options there.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyway, that's just our suggestion, Kieran. You do you.
Yeah.
All right. Fabio is noticing that you got scared.
Yeah.
He said that
you said live stream tomorrow.
And you
apparently I reacted to that.
You don't want to live stream tomorrow with me?
Oh, well, sure. Why not?
Wow, she doesn't enjoy hanging out with me, guys. I have to say, if we were not doing that...
I'm busy washing my hair tomorrow.
If we were not doing that every single week, guys, she wouldn't even acknowledge my presence. So yeah, it's just a bit of a thing. All right, while you guys coming up with some more questions like Kieran, keep going, and we will go over maybe another batch of 5 of our favorite walks to do on the north end of New Zealand. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so another 5 hike that Laura enjoys on the north end of New Zealand. Here we go.
So this is a walk that you could do between Tongariro and Wellington, if you do take quite a detour onto the east coast of the North Island. So this is the Deliverance Cove track to Castle Point. So this is a famous photo stop where there's a beautiful lighthouse on the edge of a lagoon, and you can either do 2 ways to walk there. There's one way going sort of through a pine forest to get there on one side of the lagoon, or you can go on the other side of the lagoon with more coastal views. So you have 2 options there, or you could just return a different way. And
the walk is an hour and a half return. The distance is 3.6 kilometers, which is 2.2 miles. And as Laura said, the location for the start is in the town of Masterton. Next up, Laura.
Yeah, so if you're in the town of Owakuni, which is also in the Tongariro National Park, there's the Mangafero Forest Walk, which is a really nice, easy loop walk through really lush, beautiful forest at the base of Mount Ruapehu.
And so that is just about a 1 hour loop walk. It's really not that long. It's about 3 kilometers long, which is 1.9 miles. And as Laura said, it's in Oahu.
Okay, so excuse my pronunciation for this next one. It's called the Mangi Nangina Kauri Walk. This is located in Kerikeri in the Northland region, and this is a really easy walk to see some huge kauri trees. It's all it's a whole boardwalk, so you can take wheelchairs on there, and you can take strollers, so it's an easy, accessible walk.
The length is about 350 meters, so that's about 383 yards. It's very short, 15 minutes if you walk slowly, and it's in Kerikeri in Northland.
If you want to do a mountain walk in the town of Raglan, then you have the Mount Karioi track. So this is just a really good walk to get some beautiful views of the Raglan area.
Oh, yeah, 3 to 3.5 hours walk. It's one way, so you've got to do 3 to 3.5 hour back as well, so don't forget that. 4.6 mile, 7.4 kilometers, and as Laura mentioned, it's in Raglan.
Yeah.
I will pay attention to the next one. Go for it.
And next up we have the Mount Urchin track, which is a very, it's a sort of underrated track adjacent to the Tongariro National Park, so if you want to get some awesome views of the mountains of Mount Tongariro, Naruhoe, and Ruapehu, but get from a different mountain, so mountain to mountain views, then the Mount Urchin track is really awesome.
So that will take you 3 to 4 hours return. The distance is 6.6 kilometers, 4.1 miles. There is quite sections with some steep climbs, so that's why it's 3 to 4 hours. There is more of a range, and the departure is in Turangi in Waikato. Sherry quickly is asking if there is this list somewhere on the website. Yes, the link is in the description of this video. All right, let's get back to live chat. Everybody's finding excuses for not joining us, and that's why I got to be distracted for not joining us tomorrow. Somebody's dog's birthday is tomorrow, despite the fact they don't have a dog. So get a dog tomorrow, and that'll be its birthday. So there you go. Fabio is asking, he hasn't listened to the first few ones, so he wants to know which one we covered first. So very quickly, we did the mounts, so that's the summit walk in Mount Maunganui. We have talked about Morokopa Falls in Waitomo, Karangaheke Gorge is in the Coromandel, Dawson Falls, and the Wilkes Pools in Taranaki, and the beautiful Onipoto Caves in the Te Urewerua National Park. So that's the one that we have covered already.
Says, have you talked about the Coromandel Pinnacles track? I'm not sure if it's on the list.
It's coming up soon.
It is coming on the list. Yes, stay tuned.
yes. Well, so we'll try to do as many as we can, during this hour. But other than that, we will during the Patreon show do the remaining ones. So here you go. Whatever we don't do now, we'll do them with you guys. So that'd be a lot of fun. Fabio says I think I did all of them.
Nice.
All of the walks. Here
what
you go.
A
That's
trooper.
pretty good. Kieran's asked this question, which is not walk related.
Yeah, that's fine. So not walk related, but I'm also planning a Hobbiton day trip from Auckland. There are so many tour operators. Do you have any recommendations? We will be honest, and we have to say we haven't done any of the tours that depart from Auckland. Going down to Hobbiton.
It's a very unusual kind of ways to do Hobbiton. Usually people drive themselves there and then do a Hobbiton tour, because the tour of Hobbiton itself will be the same no matter the operators you're taking, right? The Hobbiton tour itself won't change at all. However, it's just basically what you're paying extra for is going to be the transportations, right? So there are some really big names like Great Sight, which are basically like just good buses that's going to take you there. All I will do if I were you is kind of shop around and see what are the little extra where they will stop at and where is your like stop for food, for instance. But honestly, there is just ways to get to Hobbiton yourself. So yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
We also got a warning on screen right now that in 45 seconds there is going to be an ad showing on screen. That's interesting that now we actually get a warning Before it was just kind of random without a warning, but now there is a big warning saying, hey guys, there is going to be an ad in about 30 seconds for you all. So yeah, stick around until after the ad. Will still be there, I promise. All right. Fabio recommends to own your own car, Karen, as a tip. I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter too much the way you get to Hobbiton, honestly. So if you're on a budget, just go for the cheapest one. A friend of Fabio said they did a one trip from Auckland to Hobbiton and there was insane pricing. Yeah, it's obviously inflated prices because they do add that. Jonathan has a question.
Also not work related, sorry. I'm having trouble finding any availability in hostels all over the North Island for January 2024. Are these likely to be sold out, or am I just too early? I don't think they're likely to be sold out. I think it's more likely to be the latter, that you're probably just a teensy bit early.
Yeah.
Maybe some hostels do not want to commit to bookings too far in advance. It's kind of funny, but I think I would just hold off a little, not too long, but a little bit longer to do those bookings.
So there's going to be a bit of a combination of bad circumstances for you, Jonathan. So let me quickly explain, right? One of the things that has been happening this summer in New Zealand is that we did realize as a country that a ton of tourists was coming. We're coming in the country much faster than what we were expecting before. So a lot of hostels, for example, which are usually providing accommodation to bus tours, were thinking they will have way more availability, but then bus tours showed up and then they booked pretty much everything. So now there is a combination of factors that are happening. First up, quite a few hostels are actually pre-selling a lot of their dorms and a lot of their basically their beds. They're pre-selling them to operators which know that they're going to be able to sell them for the, like if you guarantee the money, you guarantee the money. Second, you are also a little bit early. A lot of time hostel providers don't release their availability that far ahead in advance. And third, you are trying to compete with also the local market. January is typically the busiest. January and December are typically the busiest months for tourism in New Zealand because both the locals have their big school holiday, like their big break because it's summer in New Zealand, and also that's when we have the biggest influx of tourists because a lot of people from the northern hemisphere try to come and enjoy summer in New Zealand. So for all those reasons, it is notoriously the hardest time of the year to get accommodation. Now that said, not being able to find accommodation at this time for next January is highly unusual. So there may be a little bit at play the fact that some of the availability is not are not released. However, if you're talking about the first week of January, it's basically mean that it's fully booked. I don't know what time in January you are talking about, right? So if you're talking about like the end of January, that's not normal. But if it's like the first week of January, that should be released and they should be taking bookings now. And otherwise, therefore, that means that it's kind of fully booked and you may have to go a little bit more premium. It also depends how picky you are. Are you looking for just like, double share kind of bed? If you're looking for specific locations, specific type of beds and everything, you reduce your availability and then that may happen. While Laura is reading some extra comments, I'm actually going to quickly check something just to see if we're not giving you wrong answer. But
yeah, cool. We have Sherry saying, unfortunately, I won't be able to come to the Patreon show. I have to get ready to drive back home from my sister's. It's a 5-hour drive. Oh gosh, that's long. But that's okay, Sherry.
She's driving what, to a dog's birthday?
Yeah, you got to make it in time for your dog's birthday. Fabio says, finally, my YouTube Prime pays off because he's not getting any ads. Nice. He says he's like, the thing nobody besides me is using. Jonathan is saying, that makes sense. Thank you so much both. Love from Wales. Nice. Robin's just double checking some stuff for you right now, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm just quickly checking like some availabilities from some something that we find. Yeah, they are definitely not cheap, but there is some availability. So I'm looking for finding hostels for 2 nights in Rotorua, and the cheapest 2-night hostel stay I can find in Rotorua right now is about 144 New Zealand dollars for 2 nights. So yeah, it's there is actually availability, mate. There's just not cheap availability, but there is.
Yeah.
So yeah, for example, like 144 for 2 nights, there's 4 room left. So yeah, no, there is availability.
Have you put it onto because that was showing it all for private rooms only?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well,
they did it sometimes.
But there is availability, so some of them should be loaded. Basically, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, so they should have their rooms loaded. Yeah. It could be just perhaps the case of it being fully booked already. Then in the cheapest rooms.
That could be that. Yeah, because that's the thing. When Kiwis are traveling, they travel very much on the cheap in New Zealand. So that could be the case. So yeah, sort that out, Jonathan. Hopefully, says love from Wales.
Yes.
Nice. Jonathan, if you want more of our help in planning your trip in New Zealand, by the way, feel free to join us on Patreon. We help you with your itinerary and all this kind of thing. It's a really cool group to hang out with. You'll even be able to hang out with Fabio, a YouTube Premium member. Look at that.
Yeah. Fabio says, I have a question. Would you recommend the Great Walk at Lake Waikaremoana?
No, would you?
So from personal experience, I have found that a very hard walk to organize because there's boat transport involved. The roads to get to one end of the track are really, really terrible. I've had like bookings basically for like accommodation and for the boat transport to be cancelled right at the last minute when I have tried to organize it. So personally, I find that whole area very hard to
deal with.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously people do it. Obviously people have managed it, but usually when I've got feedback from people that have done it, they have found that the roads were the biggest issue for them. Like they were finding that they were damaging their car or when parking at one end of the track. So it is kind of better to make sure you do get the boat transport so that you are able to park in a better place than some of the rough areas that are around there. So,
but the area itself looks quite cool, right?
Yeah.
The sceneries and everything are quite cool. The one thing I'm gonna say is that, and we've been obviously to the area quite a lot. I haven't done the Great Walk myself. We've done just a very small section. Laura has done a longer section of it. So yeah,
day walks are usually easier to organize.
Yeah, day walks are easier, and also it doesn't have really amazing unique selling points compared to a lot of other locations in New Zealand. It does look similar to a lot of other places in the country, and so therefore is it really worth all this hassle organizing and going that far off the beaten track? It is a harder sell, and it's more something which is more for a local market, I'd say.
If I could give an alternative recommendation, the Whirinaki Forest, which is literally just on the outskirts, it's not as hard to get into. You don't have to drive for a few hours on gravel roads to get to Lake Waikaremoana. If you do there's really a whole hotspot of multi-day and just day walks in the Whirinaki Forest area, and the forest there is absolutely stunning. It's still off the beaten track, so you still get that feeling of being in the wilderness and stuff, but that is also an easier place to get to, but with a lot of variety.
All right. Okay. So Fabio concludes by saying that they've been there once and the track just opened again after a blizzard. The road were fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Matua, how are you doing, Morena?
Hey.
Glad to have you on board, mate. All right. So should we do another 5 of those lovely walks?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So let's go for another batch of 5 not great. We can call them great walk in New Zealand. Fantastic walks to do on the northern end of New Zealand, but not necessarily a great walk themselves. Confusing.
Yeah.
Let's get started, Laura.
All right, so another really awesome walk to do is the Smuggler's Cove Loop Track, which is it's in the Whangarei Heads area in Northland, and this is an area that is, again, quite underrated, but there's amazing coastal views, really dramatic sort of coastal cliffs and stuff to do on a nice, easy loop walk.
And that loop walk is an hour and a half long. It takes an hour and a half to walk this about 3 kilometers track, which is 1.9 miles, and it's in Whangarei. Next up, the Great Walk now, which is not the Great Walk, but a section of it.
It's the Tongariro Alpine Crossing. So usually this walk doesn't need much of an introduction. It is the most popular full-day hike in New Zealand, and it's got volcanoes, it's got steaming vents, it's got little waterfalls and side tracks, it's got forest as well. There's a lot of variety on this day walk. It's super popular for a reason. we definitely recommend it if the weather is favourable.
And we'll talk about it a little bit again later on, but it takes you between 6 and 8 hours to do, depending on your level of fitness. It's a one-way walk, so you need to book yourself a shuttle. The distance is 19.4 kilometers, which is 12 miles, and you start in Tongariro National Park from the town of National Park.
All right, another beautiful coastal walk now. It's the Mangawhai Cliffs Walkway. So this basically it's a walk along the coast where you see unfolding views of beaches and crystal clear water below, getting up high as well so you can make the most of those views. Just another beautiful walk in the North Island.
It is a 9-kilometer walk, which is 5.6 kilometers, take you 2 to 3 hours return, and you start in Waipu in Northland.
Next up is the Manawatu Gorge Tower Loop Track. So this is the walk that we were talking about to Sherry. It's a walk that you can do between the Tongariro area going down to Wellington. It's just a little bit of a side
I would argue it's
trip.
one of the best stops on that stretch of a drive.
So it's a tad bit of a side trip to get there, but really worth it. Once you get there, you get some beautiful forest, views of the Manawatu River, because you are basically walking in as the name suggests, in a river gorge, also getting up high as well to get various different viewpoints.
All right, to get started with this walk, stop at the town of Ashurst, plan about 2 hours to do the whole loop, which is 4.1 kilometers, which is 2.5 miles.
Next up we have the Orokawa Bay Walks. Again, more beautiful coastal walks in the North Island, because really this is what the North Island is really good for. And there's various different walking tracks that you can do here, which range from as short as 45 minutes. Sorry, I'm taking your timings away, Robin. So ranging as short as 45 minutes to 4 hours.
All right, so the distances range between 1.3 kilometers, which is 0.8 miles, to 9 kilometers, which is 5.6 miles, and you start in Wahihi. All right, let's go back to the live chat and see what's up there. Matua says he hasn't been here for a while. Indeed, that's why we're happy to see you, mate.
Yeah.
And Fabio says, we've been driving from Napier to the Tureweras during darkness, and it was a thrill.
Yeah,
this kind of walk is a really thrill. Indeed. And Fabio also said, guys, don't forget to like the video. Yes, we always forget to tell you guys to like. But yeah, if you guys want to like, that's always cool. If you guys and girls, if everybody wants to like, that's really nice. Okay, so here's a quick segment that we're going to be doing right now. That's right, we have a bit of a video for you guys. So let's talk about that amazing Tongariro crossing, Laura. So what are we seeing right here?
So this is basically the part Armand was just about to get to in the video we showed earlier. This is the crater of the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, so the red crater it's called, and that's basically the highest point on the
This is actually where Armand was filming, right here. But
so that's the plateau section where Armand was filming. And as you can see, there's lots of different vent areas, and this sort of changes throughout the seasons as well, so you get to see different vents. And then as we're about to descend, we're about to go down some very loose rock, which you can either do gingerly, or you can go crazy and go fast and just get some momentum, dig your heels in as you're running down on the loose scree. So that is one way to tackle going down. That's like the hardest bit sometimes, is because some of the rock is so loose. You have to be quite careful.
Yeah. We just wanted to show you what Armand seen from the Tongariro crossing, like what he was expecting to see from the top. So I hope that you enjoyed this quick view of what the top of the Tongariro crossing looks like. As we talk about the great North Island's hikes.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's get back to live chat. Sherry says, do you recommend going to Gollum's Pools? What kind of on the way to Wellington?
So if you're staying in the Whakapapa Holiday Park, Sherry, you're actually going to be driving past what is called Gollum's Pool is
it's not really Gollum's Pool.
Torfai Falls. I think that's what you're referring to.
We literally were recommending you that walk as one of the tips on the shorter thing to do in Tongariro National Park. So it's Torfai Falls, Tawhai, and falls like a waterfall.
Yeah, so you will drive past that regardless of when you go into Whakapapa anyway. So yes. We absolutely recommend checking it out, either on the drive into Whakapapa or on the drive out before you go to Wellington. Just make sure you stop there because you're going to want to see it.
You're going to want to see it,
You're going to want to see it. Fabio says Gollum's Pool is on the Bruce Road to Whakapapa Village, if I remember correctly. It's just before getting to the Bruce Road. The Bruce Road is the one that goes up Mount Ruapehu. And yeah, it's just the road going into Whakapapa Village. So really easy to access.
Easy breezy, beautiful.
Easy breezy.
All right, should we do another 5, Laura?
Sure.
All right, let's get started with 5 more awesome walk on the North Island.
All right, we're going to go off the beaten track to an area of the Coromandel, the northern Coromandel Peninsula, where the Murawai Walk is. And this is really a place that it's another coastal walk where you just see lush green hills around you, beautiful ocean, and it's far away from civilization, so it's a really peaceful area to walk.
The walk itself is about 2 hours as a loop. It's about 6 kilometers long, which is 3.7 miles. And as Laura mentioned, it's in the beautiful Coromandel Peninsula.
Next up, we have the White Cliffs Walkway, which is located between New Plymouth and if you're going up north, say towards the Waitomo area. And a really good feature of this walkway is what's called the Three Sisters. So this is it's called because there's like 3 sort of rock stacks that have broken off from the main coastline, and there's lots of caves, there's lots of really towering cliffs to explore. There used to be something called Elephant Rock there before it lost its trunk in an earthquake. But yeah, White Cliffs Walkway is worth checking out too.
Okay, so this walkway takes you about 3 to 4 hours to do. It's 6.5 kilometers long, which is 4 miles, and you start at Pukearue in the beautiful region of Taranaki.
Moving over to Whakatane now, onto the Ngā Tapuai Otoi walkway, which is a really long sort of loop walk off the Whakatane area where you'll get to see Ohope Beach. You'll also get to go through the nature reserve where there's kiwi birds in there as well. There's really lots of different sites to see along this track that sort of encompasses the Whakatane area. So if you have a whole day to spare, then that's worth checking out.
As Laura said, it's a whole day, so the distance is about 16 kilometers, which is almost 10 miles. It takes 7 hours as a loop to do, and you start in Whakatane.
Next up, we have the Taranaki Falls Walk, which is another walk that we've talked about in this live session, where it's a 2 hours walk incorporating beautiful waterfalls, views of Mount Nauhoi and Mount Ruapehu, and it's a shorter alternative walk that you can do when you're in the Tongariro National Park.
It's a 2 hour loop. You get some fantastic views of the mountains. I absolutely love this walk. 6 kilometers, 3.7 miles. Tongariro National Park is where you start. Ooh, I like mixing it up so far.
Also, we have the Mangopoi Natural Bridge Walk. This is another really short walk that you can access, just a short drive from Waitomo. And it's got more of those awesome limestone features that Waitomo is famous for, but this time it's over a big archway that is going over a river. And yeah, really worth checking out.
This is only a 20-minute loop. It's really quick. It's 700 meters long, which is 766 yards if you use that measurement system. And it's located in Waitomo. All right, what do we have? Sherry realized that she's flying out 6 months from today. Exactly, that's exciting. I love it. Kiwi Loren joins us, says super late tuning in, but hello, 84 days until she gets on that damn plane going all the way to New Zealand. 89 days for Fabio. We have massive. We should have countdowns on the back somewhere. Adil says kia ora, Robin, Laura, and all the viewers. He joined late today. Been a bit busy, but he will watch the recording.
Well, thanks for joining us, Adil.
I prepared for your questions you're gonna ask around the end of the video. I know you're about to ask. I've prepared this time, so here we go. What is Fabio saying?
Fabio says, I should start to book some stuff. We'll ask you during our Patreon live session. Yes,
Ooh,
that's what
booking.
it's for, you guys. So ask away all your questions, even here on the Shit live show as well.
Shit live show? It's not shit live. What?
Too many S's, too many shits.
Oh, okay.
It came out all at once. Sorry, guys.
You can't. Laura is a bit of a wild
wild card.
Yeah. Okay, Kieran says everyone is making me nervous. I am flying to New Zealand in 8 days.
8 days.
What?
Nice.
Kieran, that is very, very quick. That's amazing. I love it. 8 days, exciting, Kieran. That's really cool. Yeah. You know, like with our Patreons, we also have a secret Facebook group where we actually all hang out together. And when it gets closer to like people's departure, that's when we have like more questions and everything, and we interact all week long. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, that's usually when it becomes real. I can feel like when it's about a week before departure. What I'm getting to is when you're about a week from departure. That's when it gets real, when you need to start packing, when you know, it's like when the rubber meets the ground right here. So it's not time to be nervous, it's time to get excited. That's when real things are happening. That's when you start packing. That's when the real stuff is happening.
Yeah.
Fabio is excited for you. 8 days. Kieran. Okay, Christina is here finally. That's been a while. What? Christina is here. She says, finally joining you all a little late. I hope all are well. We are playing Wingspan right now. Oh, fun. Nice one.
Do you have the Australasian expansion where you've got a couple of New Zealand birds?
Yeah, there is a New Zealand bird in expansion. Oh my gosh, we are bird nerds with board game nerds. This is the combo of the century right here. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, we actually have some friends coming for board gamings today. Sadly, they're bringing a child. So, yeah, so we kind of have to downplay it a little bit, so therefore we're going to play Downforce, which is still a cool game, but you can't accommodate a child with that. Anyway, board games aside, we're not here to talk about board games, are we?
No,
we're here to talk about traveling in New Zealand. All right, so while you guys are coming up with some more questions, we will go over 5 more walks, probably the last of those walks until we reach the Patreon session. Here you go. Yeah. All right, so number 21 on our list. What do we have, Laura?
We have the Okeria Falls track, which is located just north of Rotorua City, and it's to see, as the name suggests, a cool waterfall. But what's really cool is that there's whitewater rafters that come plunging down it every so often, so that's always fun to watch.
30 minutes one way. 1.2 kilometers, 0.7 miles. Laura is way too happy about herself. And the location is obviously Rotorua, as Laura was mentioning.
If you're looking for a walk to do around the Tauranga area, then check out Whataroa Falls. Also, the Rimu Loop Walk is nearby, another nice little waterfall area. And often in that area, there's usually not a lot of walking trails that people know about, but this one is a good one. Doesn't take too long either.
No, you can do walk between an hour long to 4 hour long. There's kind of like a lot of different kind of walk that you can be doing. The distances range from 2.5 kilometers, which is 1.6 miles one way, to 10 kilometers one way, which is 6.2 miles. And yeah, you start in Te Puke, which is beautiful Bay of Plenty.
Next up, we have the Orongo track.
Very fun to say.
Yes. This is located in the Kapiti area of Wellington, just north of Wellington. And it's a beautiful forest area located in the Remotaka Forest Park. Remotaka Forest Park. We do have a video on the channel of us doing this. So if you're looking for like a sort of day trip away from the city from Wellington, this is a really nice forested area to check out.
This is a 2-hour one-way walk. It is 5.2 kilometers, which is 3.2 miles. And as Laura mentioned, it starts in Kapiti.
Next up, we have the Mangakara Nature Walk. So this is a really good one to check out if you're traveling between Auckland down to Waitomo. You want to stop to stretch your legs. There's a beautiful forest walk to check out. Some nice bridges going over the streams, that sort of thing. It's also child friendly. So if you're a family, it's an easy walk to do with kids.
All right, so it's only a 1 hour loop track, which is 1.8 kilometers long, 1.1 miles, and Pirongia is where you want to get started. All right, last one for this list, Laura.
All right, so last
Pick a good one.
we have is the Hooker Falls walks. So there's various different walks that you can do to go check out the famous Hooker Falls, which is where the huge Waikato River is squeezing down a very narrow canyon to create some insane rapids. You can walk simply 10 minutes from the car park and check out some various viewpoints from there, or you can make it more of a long walkway starting from Spa Park in Taupo. It takes about an hour and 30 minutes to walk all the way from Spa Park down to Hooker Falls, seeing more of the river as you're walking.
All right, and as a fun fact, the Hooker Falls is actually the most popular natural attractions in New Zealand, just because it's just by the side of the road and it looks really, really cool. So as Laura mentioned, there is a wide range of different length of walk that you can be doing, ranging from 167 meters, which is 183 yards. That's the shortest walk you can find, to 3 kilometers, which is 1.9 miles. So the length of time that you need ranges from 10 minutes to an hour and a half in Taupo. Okay, let's get back to the live chat. Fabio is mocking my fondness for children. Well, I just have a hard time interacting with them. Actually, Laura is more awkward than I am with children, but it's just kind of like when it's like hanging out with them, I'm struggling a little. Fabio says, how many yards are in 10 kilometers, Robin? Can you tell me the length in inches? Yes, yes. I always think that the best way to measure, distances is with Subway sandwiches, obviously. So yeah, let's just measure in feet, everything. That makes sense. Christina says she has all the expansion for Wingspan, so here you go. Now
nice,
you know.
good.
So you're gonna have to buy the big box at some point. And then Sherry says, which walk do you recommend at the Pitangeria Pinnacles?
The one that's open. Maybe Robin can double check on the doc website if it's all open now. Because actually, when one of our other Patreons, Tamo, was down here last, he was wanting to do the longer version, and it was closed. So we'll just have a quick look to make sure that both of them are open for you. It looks like they are. Oh, no, they're not. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, no, just don't let the doc website load. Okay? So one funny thing about
the Department of Conservation website is loading too slowly.
So one funny thing about the Department of Conservation is the way their website has been coded is it loads the warning last. So you kind of start looking at the page, you start reading it, and then sometimes you get boop, like a big red warning that pops and says like, oh yeah, the car park's not working, no access to the Pitangeria Pinnacles. But by that time, Laura and I both had the time to actually read all the information we needed about the walk. So yeah, it's an interesting way to kind of code that website. Anyway, it's currently not available.
Yeah, I was just going to say, actually, it looks like it's worse than when Tamo was here. Yeah. So Tamo was able to take a short track, but now it looks like there's no access to the walk at all.
Yeah, so this only has been updated like quite a while ago, so they are often behind on updating things, and I've seen some people actually posting some photos of the walk. Yeah? So let's just, Sherry is traveling in 6 months, as mentioned.
Yeah.
So don't make plans so far ahead of time. It may be reopened. It's quite a very popular walk, as it is one of the Lord of the Rings location and all that. So in 6 months, you're likely to be able to do it.
Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to stop Laura on the track
here.
Telling you things 6 months in advance. It's New Zealand. You can't plan 6 months in advance. That's crazy. All right. Adid is finally asking the question.
Yeah, what is the theme for next week, Robin?
Well, we're going to do the absolute best walks on the South Island. We're talking North Island this time. We're doing South Island next time, so that's pretty cool. Plus, there is something exceptional happening next week. Not during the live show, but beforehand, on the 11th for our time. So around Wednesday for everybody, Tuesday or Wednesday, we are going to be publishing a chat that I had with Armand. So that's something that I showed to our Patreon subscribers earlier. And we're going to be talking about traveling with the Hop On Hop Off bus network. So that's going to be quite cool. We're going to have first-hand accounts. He's going to tell us the pros and the cons of traveling with Hop On Hop Off buses in 2023. Exciting times.
Yeah.
So yeah, look forward to this video. That is actually quite a lot of fun. I had fun making it, so here you go. Sherry says they should be better in 6 months for the Pitangeria Pinnacles. Yeah, they probably will.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And Fabio actually knew already the best hikes and walks on the south end of New Zealand. Yeah. Laura, quick questions as we wrap up this session. What's the difference between a walk and a hike?
I would say, Is it factual or opinion? Because I think it's a more opinion-based. This
yeah,
question.
I don't know. What's the difference between? How do you define a hike compared to a walk? You are editor-in-chief, right? You write things quite often, right?
Yeah.
When do you decide to say that it's a walk rather than a hike?
I'd say that a walk is usually short. It's usually just like under an hour, or an hour up to an hour.
So the Pinnacle walk is 3 to 4 hours one way. So that's
I'd say
6 hours
that's
back.
definitely a hike.
But they call it the Pinnacle walk on the Department of Conservation.
Well, this
right?
is okay. So now this is a question for the English language. It's basically synonym. They're used as synonyms of each other.
So they are replaceable completely.
Yes.
You think they're completely interchangeable?
Um.
I'm just really curious. I do not know. So it's not a trick questions or anything like that. I'm just kind of really curious.
It's just the way you prefer to call it.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, I think walks are usually shorter. Hikes are more when you are spending more than an hour outdoors. You
had it in first, Doc. You should rename the Pinnacle walks to the Pinnacle hike.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's definitely more of a hike because you're also like hiking uphill.
Yeah.
You are, you're going into the mountains. That's definitely a
Yeah,
hike.
you show them. You
And
tell
then-
them off.
And then in New Zealand, they call tramping is a thing. That means hiking. That means like going out for multiple hours, even
But in
multiple
America,
days.
they call that backpacking.
Yes, they do. And in New Zealand, backpacking is known more as budget traveling. So yeah.
So here you
very
go, foreign
confusing.
speakers. Tough luck.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like it's just your interpretation of it, really.
Yeah, interesting. So Fabio is pitching in. He says a walk tends to be done on the defined tracks and reasonably smooth surfaces without too many obstacles on the way. Walking does not tend to need special equipment apart from a day pack with essentials.
Yeah, I like that.
Generally, walks are around a region where accommodation is readily available. Walks are shorter in duration and able to be enjoyed by any age group or with relative
I
fitness.
tend to agree, yeah.
On the opposite side, hikes tend to be longer and harder walks that are usually on trails through the mountains or trails through the bush or countryside terrain. The trails are generally visible are visible, but not smooth surface of a walk.
Yep,
Hikes tend to be longer than walks and require proper equipment and footwear as terrain, and trails are more rugged. Hikings tend to see you move from lower to higher as you progress and are generally more undulating than a walk. I like that. That's well spoken. I see that he's a professor. I do like that.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm just gonna add though is that you definitely do need to have proper equipment for many of the New Zealand walk. Like I would not send people on even just the Pinnacle walk that we're talking right here without proper equipment. You do need proper walking shoes. You do need to have your water. You do need to have a pack. You do need to have layers. Like I wouldn't send somebody unprepared on many walks in New Zealand, not all of them. Like you can do the summit walks. In Mount Maunganui, we were talking about no preparation. But something called the Pinnacle walks, you do need to be prepared.
Yeah. So I would not take if a trail is called the something walk or the something hike or the something else trail. Just obviously take that as a. You always need to go deeper in. You should never assume what the trail is going to be like just by the name of a walk. You need to actually look at the track description to understand what it is. Yeah.
I like we went through semantic right here. I enjoy that. Okay, Sherry says, I feel like a walk you could get away with runners, and hiking you need better shoes like hiking boots. That may be just all it is. All right, everybody, that's a great way to wrap that up. We all learned something together, and Laura told off the Department of Conservation. Don't we like that? As Fabio reminded us earlier on during the video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and join us to another live show. That's great. There is plenty of videos on the channel you enjoy, and we are about to do another hour of this awesome show with our Patreon subscribers. So that may be worth something like...
To someone.
To somebody. So join us if you want to.
Yeah.
That happens. In the meantime, we see you next week with the best South Island walks. Bye-bye.
See you next week.